What's your thoughts on the market today?
My thoughts on the market today, not a lot of interest in buying the market. You know, fear, RQ, possibly. It almost seems like traders exiting their positions and, more like a day trader's day, because it almost looks like you see those dips in the market, and it almost is like those are traders that are holding zero DTEs and just getting out of the way because they don't want to lose their contract value. So that's what it looks like to me, why it's been kind of the way it is. A little choppy. The best action was in the early morning session. I was hoping for a bounce here, coming towards the end of the day, but even now it's just doesn't seem like there's a lot of confidence. Even trying to get ahead of the event to save on finding some value because, swing trades could offer a cheap entry into the market, but that doesn't appear to be the case. Has me a little concerned for tomorrow's price action. How about you, coach?
Yeah, this is the first time that the buyers haven't stepped in aggressively off any intraday volatility for the better part of the last week. That was one of the things that stood out to me last week was buyers stepped in pretty aggressively. We haven't seen that today, but I don't want to paint it too aggressive. I think at the end of the day, what we're seeing is resistance is holding, and we're in front of major catalyst, and market's probably alleviating a little bit in front of that catalyst. Obviously, speaking about the Fed on Wednesday, but there's data points all over the board this week. There's a lot of data points from the central banks over the next 10 days. And so I think at the end of the day, like truly resistance, and when you're looking at resistance, like if you go to, for example, if you go to RSP, for example, Riz, on a weekly chart, you'll see massive, massive overhead of resistance. And it's been that resistance level for months, not days, not weeks. It's been months. It's been testing that over, I think it's like 192 and a half. And so that's a multiple time frame level of resistance, a very, very strong level of resistance. And based on my technical read, it's going to be tough to break that level. So I do think we're just seeing a little bit of selling because we're testing some major levels in both the ES and the NQ, both the ES and the RSP, which is the equal weighted index. And I do think the market's clearly waiting on something to connect the dots and get the market in a breakout mode. I don't think we can guarantee this breakout this week. It's a massive level of resistance. It's going to take something to get the market to break it. But that's why if it does close above, and the level on the ES is at the 69 level, but if it does close above that 69 level on the ES and 192 and a half on RSP, like I will see that as a catalyst event. So I'm a little bit, gloves off, little, glass half full type thing, waiting on the ultimate breakout, because you did mention the thing that's chiefly on top of my mind is the swing trading environment. It was getting a lot better last week. This is not a great day for the swing trader in me. We haven't seen a lot of that upward movement in price. But if we do break out, like that's the ultimate swing position type trigger in my estimation. And so I'm ready to giddy up and go if we break out, but I'm a little bit cautious and patient until we do.
Now, do you think that this is the start of the holiday rally, or are we too early for that?
Um, Holiday rally can happen at any point in December, honestly. December has positive seasonality across the board. So you can definitely see that scenario playing out. And I do think the market last week was preparing for that. If we break, I'm absolutely going to be talking about Santa Claus coming to town. There's no doubt about that. The
Yeah,
official
for
Santa
sure.
Claus rally is the last 5 trading days of the year, going into the first 2 trading days of next year. That's the official Santa Claus rally. But we all know that kind of there's a lot of times that starts in front, right? And
Hmm.
so, yeah, on the back of my head, I'm thinking Santa Claus, but I'm also thinking that Santa Claus can't get through that resistance level yet.
Got it.
Like I'm not seeing any volatility in RTY, like at all. ES was really consistent on the downside in the early session. It's got slowing momentum right around the 68.40 level.
Yeah, I was actually trading the M2K earlier. I noticed that today as well. It was pretty smooth on price action. Well sold for Christmas presents and bonuses.
Market
What
is
is that?
at a support level from last week on the ES. It's at that 35 level. That was last Thursday's volatility event when we had that big candle, about a 30-point range to the downside. Came right back up. Got a couple wicks there today, right around the 35 level, 36. Market's starting to slow down that key level of intraday support. Most intraday charts still slightly bearish, dealing with slowing momentum there. Got a double top at 60 on the ES. Interested to see if something develops right around the 50 level. It's got a little work to do though. Gold's at that 42 level. It's at 42.17 right now. 42.04. Pretty important support level on gold. Keep an eye on that. Bitcoin and Ethereum, though, are doing nothing bad in any development here. Like
You
Ethereum
like
is
them?
just kind of primed in front of that 3,200 break. So, in a nutshell, Riz, on the daily chart, we're inside range on the ES. We're inside range on GC. We're inside range on the RTY. We're inside range on silver. Inside range on the Dow. Like I'm not seeing any real moves here.
What, like
Not
for end of the
yet. Crude.
day?
I'm just looking like if are we seeing any like changes on the environment on the daily charts, and I'm not seeing any yet. Maybe crude a little bit, but outside of crude, which kind
I
of beats
honestly,
its own drum.
I honestly hate the way the daily looks on ES. The candle is turned around on it.
Yeah, I don't like
We,
that candle. You got to hold
I
it.
mean, yeah, and that was one of the reasons why I asked you. What do you think would kick off the center rally? Because at this point we got an hour 45 left on the
That,
daily candle. Nothing left. Can they buy
yeah,
this back and take it up? I don't think so because we need a catalyst for that. We need some kind of news to drop to
we
send
need a
it. We need
catalyst for
something,
it. Yeah,
and I don't think it's going to happen today.
No,
So
no. I think we're going to finish inside today.
yeah,
Um, I don't think we're going to break the low here today. The 9 EMA is literally right underneath. I do think the only catalyst, like there's a couple catalysts this week that are very important, obviously. You got the Fed on Wednesday, and although I don't believe the actual rate decision is going to provide a catalyst for the market, I do think the dot plot and the summary of economic projections can be a catalyst. And so I definitely think that's in the I don't know if we're going to get that surprise rate hike. I think they're a little too concerned about the labor environment. Um, but I do think the SCP, the summary of economic projections, and the dot plot is going to be pretty sensitive, given the fact that that's going to be the last update going into next year, and every bank is going to rely on that SCP, and every bank is going to rely on that dot plot to give their own economic projections for next year. And so the banks are coming out right in this time frame over the next couple weeks. They're going to be coming out with their projections for next year, both from a price perspective, what's their anticipation for growth next year? 8%, 12%, 10%. They're all going to be somewhere around the chalk, but they're going to use the SCP. They're going to use the dot plot to kind of conclude those projections. And so I do think the secondary analysis coming out of the Fed is going to be a lot more important than what the Fed actually does, given unless they do that surprise hike RQ, which would be a little shocking, given that 90% of the market expects a rate cut, 10% of the market expects flatline. Nobody is expecting a hike. So that would be a little shocking. There's no doubt about that. But I do think the SCP and the dot plot certainly could propel some things out there this week. Outside of that, like the economic landscape this week, it's all about the Fed. You got jolts on Tuesday. That's going to be labor. You got weekly on ADP weekly employment change on Tuesday as well. But it all epicenter on this week's data is kind of on Wednesday, and that's when you get the Fed. And on Fed Day, it's a 24-hour pricing event is basically what the Fed is, and then you go right into Broadcom, and Broadcom's obviously the biggest and most important of the earnings reports this week. And so you got those two data points that I feel, and that's on Thursday night. So Wednesday during the trading session, obviously the overnight session is going to be a little hot on Wednesday, and then on Thursday night you have Broadcom's earnings, which is an AI event, which is the entire growth for the entire marketplace. So it's going to be an interesting week, no doubt. I'm hesitant until on every time frame outside of intraday. I'm hesitant until we see the break at 6,900. I have a massive opinion of that resistance level.
yeah, definitely. Earnings week this week will be really interesting, like you said, with Broadcom. You got Oracle.
Yeah, there's
You got
others this week.
Adobe. You got Costco.
AI, Oracle, big time AI
Yeah.
name. Adobe, big time AI name on the creative
Mhm.
side.
Lululemon is also so some interesting companies that
You know,
could offer some cool opportunities.
I'm glad you brought up Lulu because Lulu really hasn't been part of this conversation on the stock side of it for, I want to say, a couple years. It hasn't. But before the pandemic, Lulu and Apple were 1A, 1B on the consumer analysis. Like it was, Lulu was used as a way to determine kind of the overall strength of the consumer. Apple right there, 1A, 1B. And I know it's a little bit weird because Lulu is not in the same epicenter of landscape that Apple is, but it's a very important consumer name. They have earnings coming up, and their earnings, I have some interest here because a little bit of a reversal going on the last couple months on Lulu. Could be very interesting on that one. So that's a little bit of just a single stock story, and that will obviously impact a little bit of the retail side of the equation, which, by the way, retail reports in the last couple of weeks have been pretty good on the earnings side of the equation. Haven't seen a lot of flaws there. So very interested in Lulu, but I don't see Lulu as like a market story. I see it as a like a consumer story. Obviously, consumer discretionary, retail, consumer facing companies, but they're coming from a low point here. Um, I like the reversal, Jaja. I don't buy in front of earnings. Specifically as a trader, I never do that, like ever, 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 ever. I am a junkie for secondary patterns following earnings reports, though. Like a junkie. I love secondary patterns, job following an earnings report. You can guarantee a gap situation. Lulu, for example, you're expecting a 20-point gap, which is about a 10% move on their earnings, and that 18, 19-point gap that is expected is just based on whether it's up or down. They're expecting an 18-point move in Lulu, so like expect Lulu to be at 160 or 200, following their earnings release. 160 is a massive, massive important support level. Like massive. I can't tell you how important that support level is to Lulu, because if you break that 160 level, like it's clean down to 140, and then it's like dirty down to 110. So I like the reversal. I like the 160 support level. At no point will I ever say buy this, sell that in front of an earnings release. Like I just don't think that's the proper mindset when it comes to earnings. But it's certainly on the radar, because if you get a gap up to say $200, you could see beautiful patterns develop at $200. You see a gap down to 160, you could see beautiful patterns develop at the 160 level. And so I kind of have always felt, as a trader, as an investor, you're going to hold through earnings like that. You just are. Um, you got to learn how to navigate holding through earnings as an investor. Sometimes we collar, sometimes we buy protection, and sometimes we open it up. But you hold investments through earnings every time. On the trader side of the equation, earnings is the ultimate variable, like the ultimate variable. And I've just seen way too many examples of great reports that get sold and terrible reports that get bought up. And so I usually don't try to have a strong opinion going into earnings. My opinions get very, very aggressive following earnings. We have so many fake conversations in the market. Earnings is the only real conversation we honestly have. I think my favorite big asset focusing on this week is honestly Ethereum, if it can break the 3,200 level.
It's been consolidating around in this 3,100 level.
Yeah. The 200 daily moving average is right there acting as resistance too on the daily chart.
Mm. It's trying. Crypto needs
It's
something
tried for
though.
4 days in a row. It's the best development the crypto space has looked at in a while, though. That's what consolidation will do after that bloodbath the last couple months.
So what are they gonna do with this thing? I like Lulu. So we're down 0.48% for the day. Now, can they close us flat?
That'd be a
We
good
think,
sign.
Coach? Mm-hmm.
That'd be a good sign. Like, I think the best case scenario for the Bulls if they can break 50 and get up to 60 and kind of close around that 60 level.
I think the market can do it. I think we can close flat.
Listen, I hope. I do like the Bulls stepping up a little bit here. I got levels at 50 and then a big one around the 60 level.
V-shaped prime.
Couple resistance levels at the 60 level from last week. '60 is the big test. 50 is a little baby test.
Mm-hmm. Not a lot of well, almost 4,000 orders on the chain. Okay.
Yeah, volume should get up to about where it was last week.
Russell is testing a downward trend line. So let's see if we can get above it. Same thing almost looks like for
If Russell can break 30, it's gonna probably get up into 36.40.
Ooh, I hope
That
so.
should bring the ES up into 50 and 60.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the totality of news today, like if the market was gonna price in the news today, it makes a lot of sense to have a doji. A lot of sense. By the way, did you see the government's not going to just automatically pass through that Netflix merger with Warner Brothers? And then Paramount is looking to do a hostile takeover of Warner Brothers. And so we got a good
Mm-hmm.
old fashioned OK Corral bid off going on Warner Brothers this week.
Yes, I did see that pop up in the news. That was interesting.
What I didn't know was Paramount has a larger bid than Netflix does. I think Netflix said it was $27.50 a share in both cash and Netflix shares for Warner. Paramount came in with a $30 bid, all cash, and the board of Warner Brothers said no to Paramount and took the lower offer from Netflix. And so Paramount is trying to do a hostile takeover now. It's going to get dramatic.
Wow. How many shares did they scoop up?
I don't know how much Paramount has, but I'm sure they're going around to the biggest shareholders and trying to convince them to join their side. There's going to be a shareholder vote on it.
Yeah, I was on my hot list today. Let's see. Let's go to WB. Interesting because for them wanting to sell, the share prices have almost doubled since September's timeframe.
Listen, the only reason that share price has doubled is because there's bigger companies sniffing to buy them.
Mm.
Even on their negative earnings report, they went up like They produced 63 cents 2 quarters ago, negative 6 cents last quarter, and they went up because they're in a bidding war.
Almost at they're almost at a weekly resistance now. This is a good
Yeah,
one to
this
watch.
probably this is where it flatlines though, unless Paramount or Warner Brother or Netflix increases their bid. Like share price now at 27 and a half, 28. That's right where Netflix's bid is. Paramount's is at 30. Maybe it squeezes to 30, maybe slightly above 30 if there's some competition on that bid. I'm just hoping this merger does not take on the Activision merger with Microsoft from a few years ago. That thing took like 3 years to conclude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Elon just comes in over
Oh,
the
it took too
top,
long.
smacks it on the table. 50 large. Let's go.
So gold, is gold gonna give it up on the daily? Give it a little relief?
It could. It could. It could. I'm a little concerned about it.
I mean, they are a little overextended already. Yeah, it's a little concerning. They're the position that gold is starting to take. Silver also looking like indecision on the daily.
Oh, it doesn't know what it wants to do on the daily.
Hmm. Will we pivot? Don't look like it wants to go. Either that or they want to wait until the imbalances kick in.
Yeah.
Just cooking zero DTEs, not to make it happen too early. You know what? Since you brought up Elon, let's take a look at Tesla.
Slow down today on Tesla.
437 right now, down on the day, down 3.76%. Well, last Wednesday's lows almost. Still could be some more selling on it. It's a heat map. Heat map don't look good. I mean, there's not much there that has any type of strength right now. I'm getting short signals on NASDAQ now. That's not good. Is that the Russell is also starting to dip now too. It wasn't able to get above that trend line that it kept hitting its head at. there's a cell. No, they flush it. That last 30 minutes of the cache session. Yes, yes. Flush to 550. Ooh. RQ, what do I look like, man? A genie or something?
Looks like farmers are getting a bailout here. 12 billion.
Oh, somebody was talking about Coach. What were you talking about? Coffee? No, you were talking about copper, right? In our chat.
Oh, yeah, copper broke out last week. Industrial metals have been pretty hot recently.
Well, I
Meaning
think
all
with all
year
the
long.
new I think with all the new tech we have, you know, some of those resources are becoming very valuable because of their uses.
There's not a war going on in the world that doesn't have something to do with critical minerals. It's truly fascinating how much critical minerals are needed for the technological build out in the AI space. China has the hefty dose of them too. Some in South America, lots in Russia and Ukraine.
Doesn't look like it's gonna hold up. Looks like it is gonna go. Yes, it has a whole lot of volume now. Like almost 10,000 orders on the chain.
But if you missed the lab from last week, I did get that posted on our YouTube channel today. Always appreciate a nice little watch, like, comment if you love.
Of course, we love our coach, man.
I didn't know you'd missed a lab, RQ. Offended.
Yeah. I had to talk to management about that.
Yeah, like all right. I RQ had a rest. I get that.
I suppose. Well, dang, they are gonna dump this thing, it looks like. All right, RQ. Gonna hit your targets. 587 to the downside. Got half an hour to get there. Oh, more than that. Missed by a few ticks. Your 587, it looks like it hit, no? Slow power hour. More of a consolidation. I mean, such a tight range. 616, 619 to 583. Almost like 40 points. Right. Like 40 points. Come on, Bulls. Show up. No market said not today. RQ got out. That higher low didn't break. Yeah. Come on, make it a good end of day. Like 22 minutes left now. Just stuck on the EMAs now here on the 3. It's real funny. Don't want to give no telltale signs, right? What else is happening on the intrawebs? Yeah, ES is starting to wake up. Just gotta
As long as the
surge the
ES does
volume.
not break the daily 9 EMA, it doesn't break the structure of the daily pattern going into that breakout. Important to hold some of these levels here interday to make that 6,900 case breakout alive and well this week. I find it fascinating that the market is already starting to accept the Fed's language that this week's cut is going to be painted as a hawkish cut. That's interesting to me that they want to message it that way. Save face on inflation, but you can't consider this a hawkish cut. If they're cutting, the dots show they're going to cut more in 26. They just ended QE and they're launching a shadow QE program in January. You can't consider that a hawkish cut. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, because it is what it is. I think plenty of us already have an understanding and of where we're at. What's up, Blasky?
Good
How's
that
it
we
going?
do
Good to
because
see
the
you.
Fed doesn't. What's up, Laws? I see a good shout out of Nick Timros there, Blas. They didn't give Timros anything. I was talking with a bunch of traders last night, and I was asked that question on the Fed and Timros because Timros is the Fed whisperer, and he's the Fed whisperer because Jay Powell gives him the message to say before they go live with it. And we didn't get anything from Timros this time. They did have other Fed speakers to go out there and lay out the. I thought the Williams speech was very important to kind of key in on that cut that is actually happening. But they're obviously in their blackout period here, and they usually communicate through Timros. Timros, Wall Street Journal, Fed Whisper. But they haven't done that this time. The one in the DM. Yeah, I have same read. I have a very similar read. If they wanted to message something specifically, they usually get it to Tim Ross. I'm sure they use other Wall Street traders as well, or Wall Street influencers or whatnot. But I'm pretty sure Jay Powell's got Tim Ross on speed dial. He's in the favorites list in his iPhone.
Speed 5. 2 minutes until imbalances. So they're gonna just wait until the very end. Balance is coming out now. Nvidia with the buy. Yeah, shooting up a little.
Nvidia might want it. Get above 185.
Let's go. Okay, well, I guess a muted end. Russell is selling. Yes, is trying though. I mean, the 5 minute we're over the EMAs. Okay, there it goes. Getting a buy signal here on NQ now.
ES is getting to the 50 level. That
See
50 level
that?
is pretty important.
I'm watching it with eagle eyes.
50, 60. Like, then we can see what we get.
I mean, we're still 0.46 down for the day. What's up, Ace? How's it going? Happy Monday.
What's up, Base? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, one of those days, resistance held, quick turn to the downside, consolidation. Haven't seen much since. I do think it's important for this to hold here, though, kind of the low points of today. Yeah, I think that's the consensus, Ace. Hesitation in front of the Fed. And the Fed is going to cut, and they're going to do everything they can to try to paint the cut as hawkish, and so that's their way of trying to produce some equilibrium to the conversation. I don't think the market's going to love it, but we're going to wait and see on that. Honestly, the only thing I care about this week, though, outside of the intraday conversations, is does the S&P close above 6,900?
We still got 5 minutes. I haven't given it up yet, as odd as it may seem. All right, Blas, we'll see you at the Asia. That's right, team. If you guys are looking for Asia action, stop by one of our resident traders, Blasky. He'll be hosting a little event, a little shindig for some after hours action. So for you pajama traders, jump in there. Check it out.
Later, Blas. Good luck. Good luck tonight. Are you doing that just as a special tonight? Or is that going to be something that we can plan on moving forward? Just curious more than anything. Every night? It's fantastic. I love that. Because I can't be there tonight. I am teaching tonight, but I will definitely join you for multiple Asian market hour streams.
Yeah, I'll pop in too.
Yep.
If you'll have me.
Well, two things. Number one, I really like the Asian market hour or hours. And number two, I really like having a conversation with Blas. I enjoy both.
Well, if you ask me, it sounds like a good time.
Awesome, Blas.
We got 1 minute to go, team. Hope you all enjoyed the stream. Don't forget about Coach Matt's lab coming up this Thursday. Coach Becky's trade psychology tomorrow. And Steve also, he's got 3 classes as well as BluSky every night this week.
Sounds like a heck of a content schedule there. And every day we'll be in Power Hour, right, Riz?
Absolutely, Coach. We sure will be.
All right, team. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. I'm checking out. There's those buyers coming in right at the very end of the conclusion.
Right at the very end. Oh my God.
Thanks, buyers. Thanks.
Squeeze those
dirty
dirty
bears there, Ace.
Do it. Do it. Send it.
I want a bold move this week. There's no doubt about that. I'm positioned for a bold move, so let's see if we can get it.
Oh, nice. Nice. All right. My end of day trade worked out really well.
Well done, brother. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, team. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Coach Matt, for joining me and everyone else in chat. Don't forget to bring those questions in tomorrow. Also, those morning levels I post every morning. If you guys want to see those, there's only one place to catch those. That's inside the Discord. And if you pop in the Discord, tell them Coach Riz sent you. All right, team. As always, good luck in the market. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a fantastic day, team.